Welcome to the Golden Chronicle, where power, money, and the hidden face of history collide. Nothing is as it seems. Most people think it is, right? The Knights Templar were pious, brave warriors who protected pilgrims during the Crusades, and then the king wiped them out. The end. But the truth is way more complex, way bloodier, and trust me, way more interesting, because what I'm about to tell you today is the origin story of your credit card, your bank account, hell, even your Venmo transfers. I'm Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the Knights Templar, and before I was chained to a stake and burned alive in Paris in 1314. Let me tell you the real logic of money. Money must be easy to steal. That's the whole point, because money is nothing but belief. And if you control belief, you control the world. We started as 9 knights in 1119. 9 men, 200 years later. At the Paris Temple, we built a financial empire that loaned money to kings, where even the Pope needed us. But how? That's where the real story begins. Jerusalem fell in 1099. The First Crusade had ended successfully, and Christians from all over Europe were flocking to see the land where Jesus was crucified. The problem was this: these pilgrims carried gold, silver, and jewels with them, and bandits and thieves on the roads from Europe to Jerusalem were robbing them. Pilgrims were being looted and killed. You're leaving from the port of Paris in France. You've got 100 gold coins in your pocket, and before you reach Jerusalem, someone robs and kills you in a forest. This wasn't just a security problem, it was also an economic problem, because pilgrims were bringing huge amounts of money into the Eastern Mediterranean economy, and nobody wanted that money to disappear along the way. So, in 1119, we established ourselves in Jerusalem to solve this problem. Auguste de Payens and 8 brothers in arms. The official story is simple. We protect pilgrims, we said, but in reality, we were searching for gold, searching for knowledge, searching for power. King Baldwin of Jerusalem gave us a location on the Temple Mount, on the ruins of Solomon's temple. The place was sacred, but nobody knew what lay beneath that holy ground. Some call us archaeologists, some call us treasure hunters, but we called ourselves the poor fellow soldiers of Christ, and of the Temple of Solomon. We took a vow of poverty. Our emblem shows 2 knights riding a single horse because we couldn't even afford a second horse. Absurd, isn't it? The men who would build the wealthiest organization in world history couldn't even afford to ride separate horses at the beginning. But in 1129, the Pope officially recognized us, and then everything changed. Pope Innocent gave us special privileges, tax exemption, judicial immunity, and most importantly, the right to answer to no one except the Pope, including kings. Think about it. You're in the Middle Ages, and there's an organization that doesn't answer to kings, only bound to the Pope. What does this mean? It means you can do business, collect money, cross borders, without paying any taxes, without any investigation. This is a license, a carte blanche, and we used that license. The Crusades were ongoing. We were fighting Muslims. Even when Saladin took us prisoner, he would release other knights, but execute the Templars because he knew we were the real threat. We were brave and ruthless on the battlefield, but our real genius was off the battlefield. One day, a pilgrim came to us. He was heading from Paris to Jerusalem. "Master," he said, "I've got 100 gold coins, but I'm terrified I'll get robbed on the road. What do I do?" And right there, one of history's greatest inventions was born. I looked him dead in the eye and said, "Give me your gold. I'll give you an encrypted letter. When you get to Jerusalem, show this letter to our brothers there, and they'll give you your gold back." The guy stared at me. "But how can I trust you?" "Because," I said, leaning in, "we are God's soldiers, the Pope's protectors, and moving gold this way is safer. You travel light, sleep easy, wheel, guard your money." So, we took his gold and handed him a document. This thing was encrypted with codes that couldn't be faked, couldn't be copied. When the man reached Jerusalem, our knights there handed him his money. Boom. There's your first check, your first letter of credit, your first international wire transfer. But we didn't stop there. We realized something crucial. Some pilgrims weren't spending all their gold. They'd deposit 100 coins, but only withdraw 80 in Jerusalem. 20 gold coins just sitting there. So, what did we do? We used it, loaned it out to other people, with interest, and when the pilgrim came back, we gave him his remaining money. But in the meantime, we'd already made that money work for us. That's the birth of fractional reserve banking, folks. And then we thought, why stop at pilgrims? Kings need to move money. Princes, wealthy merchants, they all need this service. Our Paris Temple became Europe's first central bank. We kept meticulous records on 8-page parchments, tracking every single transaction, who deposited what, how much, which account, where it came from. We had 60 active accounts. Nobles, clergy, royalty, everyone banked with us. We offered safety deposit boxes, retirement plans, credit lines, interest-bearing loan, correspondent banking deposit in Paris, withdrawal in Jerusalem. We invented every element of modern banking in the frickin' 12th century, and we got filthy rich, obscenely wealthy. We built 9,000 Templar strongholds across Europe. We owned the entire island of Cyprus, had a massive naval fleet. We loaned money to King Philip of France, to the King of England, to the Pope himself. We weren't just knights anymore. We were a financial empire, a shadow state. But here's the thing that became our problem. We got too powerful, too rich, and history teaches you one brutal lesson. When you loan money to a king and he can't pay you back, the king has 2 choices. Option 1, pay you. Option 2, kill you. King Philip, he went with option 2. Let's get to 1307. King Philip IV of France, nicknamed Philip the Fair. But that nickname only referred to his appearance because spiritually, he was a dirty man. He had borrowed tons from us. The Crusades were expensive. His palace was expensive. His army was expensive. And our money seemed endless. One day, he realized that if he eliminated us, the debt would be erased and he could seize our assets. But there was a problem. We were under the Pope's protection. He couldn't attack us directly. So, what did he do? He plotted. He pressured Pope Clement. These Templars are heretics, he said. They spit on the cross. They deny Jesus. They practice homosexuality. They worship something called Baphomet, a devil. None of it was true. But it didn't matter. When a conspiracy theory is shouted loud enough, it doesn't have to be true. Pope Clement was a weak man. He couldn't withstand Philip's pressure. And on Friday, October 13, 1307, the source of the unlucky day known as Friday the 13th in history, Philip gave the order to arrest all Templars in France. The operation was perfect, a police masterpiece. Sealed letters were sent to garrison commanders in every city in France. Don't open until October 13th, they were told. On the morning of October 13th, all commanders opened the letters with the same order. Arrest all Templars in your vicinity. Hundreds of knights were arrested in one day, including me. And then the torture began. Inquisition, torture, finger breaking, foot burning, waterboarding. The goal was simple. Make them confess. Yes, I spit on the cross. Yes, I worship the devil. Yes, I'm homosexual. The torture continued until they confessed. Some of my brothers couldn't endure it and confessed. Some tried to defend themselves, but Philip interfered with the courts and denied them the right to defense. In Paris, dozens of knights were tied to stakes and burned. In 1310, 54 of my brothers were burned in a square. The public watched. People who once entrusted their lives and money to us were now watching us die burning. Pope Clement officially disbanded the order in 1312. All our assets were seized. Our treasuries were plundered. Our empire collapsed overnight. But here's the irony. Philip never found the treasury because we knew in advance. As Jacques de Molay, before I was arrested, I burned all our records, our rule books, our account ledgers. We hid the treasury. Where? You'll never know. Some say we fled to Scotland, some say Switzerland, some even say America. The conspiracy theories continue to this day. But let me tell you the truth, the treasure didn't matter. The real treasure was the system. We built a system, and that system died. But the idea lived on. March 18, 1314, I was tied to the stake. The wood was lit beneath my feet. As the flames rose, I looked at Pope Clement and King Philip, and I shouted my curse. Pope Clement, within a year, you will see me before God. King Philip, you and your lineage will be gone within 3 generations. And guess what happened? Pope Clement died a month later. King Philip died at the end of that same year. Philip's 3 sons also died young, and the Capet dynasty ended. Did my curse work? Who knows? Maybe coincidence, maybe guilty conscience, maybe just history. But the result is the same. And now, from 2026, you're looking at me. You have a smartphone with a banking app inside. With one touch, you send money. With one touch, you receive money. You have a credit card, a bank account, a digital wallet, and have you ever thought about where these things originated? We established that system 900 years ago. Letter of credit, ours. Transfer system, ours. Encrypted documents, ours. Correspondent banking, ours. Deposit system, ours. Today a Turk sits in Izmir, touches his phone, and sends money to someone in New York. How? Because 900 years ago, 9 knights said, money doesn't have to be physical, money can be a document. But wait, let me give you another secret. The real genius of the Knights Templar wasn't just the financial system. The real genius was understanding power dynamics, understanding the logic of money. Look, in the Middle Ages, power came from 3 things: army, land, and religion. The king had his army, the church had its religion, the noble had his land. But we found a 4th power: credit. If you loan money to a king, the king is in your hands. If you loan money to the pope is in your hands. Because debt means dependency, and dependency means power. It's the same in the modern world. Look at the big tech companies, Google, Amazon, Apple. Where does their power come from? They have no armies, no land, no religion, but they have your data. And data is the equivalent of modern credit. You give Google your data. In return, they offer you a free service. But in reality, you are their product. Just as kings were our clients, you are their clients. And if one day Google says, I know all your emails, your search history, your location data, that means you're dependent on them. That's power dynamics, the psychology of finance. We understood this 900 years ago. And today, the same game continues. But the players have changed. In our time, there were kings and popes. Today, there are CEOs and governments. The game is the same. Whoever controls the money controls the world. Now let me tell you something else. Inflation. The modern world's nightmare. Inflation is high in Turkey. People are complaining. Why is my money losing value? They ask. The answer is simple. Because money is a matter of belief. Money is a piece of paper. It has a number written on it. But that number's value comes from collective belief. If everyone says this 100 lira is valuable, then 100 lira is valuable. But if everyone says this 100 lira is no longer as valuable as before, inflation begins. In our time, gold was used. Gold had physical value. But even then, we understood that even gold is a matter of belief. Because can you eat gold? No. Can you survive with gold? No. But because everyone valued gold, gold was valuable. Today, you value paper money because the government says this is valuable. Tomorrow, you might value cryptocurrency because a group of people say this is valuable. In the end, money is a social agreement, and social agreements can break down. The 2008 crisis showed this. As banks collapsed, people realized these banks actually invested our money in risky places. Trust collapsed, and when trust collapses, the system collapses. It was the same in our time. People trusted us. Kings trusted us. The Pope trusted us. Then King Philip said, "They're heretics." Doubt arose in people's minds, and when trust collapsed, we collapsed too. But here's an absurd truth. We were destroyed, but the system lived on, because a good idea cannot be killed. Philip burned us. The Pope excommunicated us. But 100 years later, in Italy, the Medici family financed the Renaissance, using exactly the system we created. In 1609, the Bank of Amsterdam was founded and copied our system. In 1694, the Bank of England was established and applied our principles. In 1913, the U.S. Federal Reserve was founded, same system again, and today, the entire world banking system is a continuation of the system we started 900 years ago in Jerusalem. Let me ask you a question. Do you know Swiss banking? Switzerland has the world's most secure banking system. Why? Because it keeps secrets. It guarantees privacy. It doesn't disclose anyone's account. According to one conspiracy theory, Swiss banking comes from us. The escaped Templars settled in Switzerland and established the banking system there. Is it true? I don't know, but it's symbolically true because our philosophy was, protect the client's secret. If the client trusts you, you can serve them. Swiss banks follow the same principle. Secrecy, trust, service, our DNA. Now let's come to the present day. Social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, billions of people consuming content every day. And most people don't know how social media companies make money. Simple, advertising. But the logic behind advertising is deeper. Social media companies give you a free service, but in return, they're selling your attention. They tell advertisers, this person uses Instagram 3 hours a day. Show them ads. And you, without realizing it, become a commodity. In our time, kings deposited gold. We gave them credit. Today, you deposit data. Companies give you content. The logic is the same. The power balance is the same. Only the tools have changed. So what should we learn from this? Here are a few lessons. First, money is not a physical thing. It's a psychological thing. Money's value comes from the belief society places in it. If society loses that belief, money also loses value. So if you want to fight inflation, you must rebuild trust. Second, the financial system is a power system. Whoever controls the money controls the decisions. Kings were dependent on us because they borrowed from us. Today, people are dependent on banks because banks provide credit. Tomorrow, people might be dependent on crypto platforms because they're storing their assets there. Power always comes from control. Third, a good idea cannot be killed. They burned us, seized our assets, shut down our order, but our system lived on because our system worked. It solved people's real need. If you're starting a startup today, apply the same principle. Solve a real problem, and even if the system kills you, your idea will live on. Fourth, history repeats itself, but the players change. In our time, there were kings and popes. Today there are governments and corporations. Tomorrow, there will be other powers, but the game is the same. Power, money, control. So study history. If you understand the past, you can predict the future. Now I'll make a confession to you. Before I was burned, as the flames reached my feet, I was in pain, but I was also proud because I knew we changed an era. Pilgrims are no longer robbed along the way. They travel safely. Kings no longer carry cash. They use credit. Merchants no longer worry about hoarding piles of gold. They entrust it to banks. We transformed the financial world. And as I burned in the flames, I thought they might kill us, but they can't kill our idea. And I was right, because today, 700 years later, you're listening to my story. And maybe you have a credit card in your hand, a debit card in your wallet, and without even realizing it, you're carrying our legacy. But I also want to give you a warning. Our story is as much a success story as it is a cautionary tale, because we became too powerful, too wealthy, and when you become too powerful, enemies multiply, jealousy increases, conspiracy theories spread, and one day, a king said enough, and we were finished. Today, look at big companies. Amazon, Google, Facebook, they're very powerful, very wealthy, but governments are watching them. Antitrust laws are coming. Tax audits are beginning. History is repeating itself. And if they're not careful, one day they'll be eliminated just like us, because history teaches us this. No power lasts forever, but ideas can last forever. One more thing, the Templar treasure. Everyone is looking for that treasure. Where is it? They ask. The Holy Grail. Gold, jewels. Let me tell you the truth. There was no treasure. There was no physical treasure. The real treasure was knowledge. Our records, our systems, our network, our relationships. These were more valuable than gold, and I burned them because I knew if that information fell into the wrong hands, it could be misused. But the system itself cannot fit in a book or a parchment. That system lives in people's minds, and as it's taught, as it spreads, it evolves. That's the real treasure. Knowledge, system, idea. And today, by watching this video, you've touched a part of that treasure. Now it's your turn. How will you use this knowledge? Will you build your own financial system? Will you start a startup? Or will you just think the next time you look at your bank card, this is a continuation of a 900-year-old invention? Whatever you do, remember, money, power, and history are all interconnected. And if you understand that connection, you understand the rules of the game. If you understand the rules of the game, you can play the game. And if you can play the game, you can win. But be careful, because if you win too much like us, you can also fall like us. The flames are getting very high now. The pain is becoming unbearable. But I'm still proud because I know we left a mark, and that mark cannot be erased by any flame. History has the answers, and I've shown you where to look. Now, discover for yourself. Dive into the depths of finance, research the psychology of money systems, and remember, nothing is as it seems. This is Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the Knights Templar, bidding you farewell. From within the flames, sending a greeting to 2026. Know this, the laws of financial gravity never change. Human nature never changes. The triangle of power, money, and control is the same in every era. Only the costumes change. Today, you two are part of a game. You're either a player or a pawn. The choice is yours. But before you make that choice, learn the rules of the game. Because those who don't know the rules always lose. And history doesn't remember the losers. But those who build systems, they're never forgotten. Even though we died 900 years ago, we're still being talked about. What will you leave behind 900 years from now? You're with the Golden Chronicle. In the next video, I'll tell you another secret story. I'll show you another power game. I'll reveal another financial revolution. Because history doesn't just stay in the past. History shapes today and tomorrow. And if you don't understand history, you'll find yourself in repeating mistakes. But if you understand history, then you can write the future. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and next time, I'll tell you about the Dutch East India Company, the world's first publicly traded company, the first stock exchange, the first bubble, and the first crash, because every rise ends with a fall. Every empire eventually collapses, but ideas are eternal. Farewell, and remember, power, money, and the hidden face of history. Nothing is as it seems.